have a brand new product that we're going to talk about today. As you can see on your screen, we have recently launched NCD Accident Prime. So today we're going to talk about why your clients need accident insurance. Of course, we'll do a product deep dive. I'll share a use case with you. I'm going to show you our brand new enrollment portal. We'll touch on some sales tips, and then of course, we'll save time for any questions that you have. So if you've ever sat through an NCD training with me or probably anybody on my team, we typically start off with our mission statement. But you guys already know that, right? You're selling our dental and vision. So we're going to hop right into why accident medical expense insurance is so important. And I'm going to start with a very quick story. On a recent trip to Dallas, I grabbed an Uber from the airport, and almost immediately the driver asked why I was in town. And when I told him that I worked in insurance, his tone shifted just a little bit. He said something like, so what do you think about our healthcare system? And I was like, whoa, that's a little bit of a loaded question, right? So I paused for a second and I said, I know it's not perfect, definitely a lot of opinions out there, but I also do know that there are a lot of good people out there trying to help folks get the best coverage possible that they can afford. And he instantly followed up with, okay, but what do you think about those high deductible health plans? You really think that those are good? They don't cover anything. And so I thought again for a moment, and then I said, here's the thing. High deductible plans offer lower monthly premiums so more people can afford them. But the trade-off is that you end up paying out of pocket for a lot of things until you hit that big deductible. So they're going to protect you from major catastrophes, but for other care, sometimes they leave people feeling like they can't really actually use that insurance. And then he said something that really stuck with me. He said, it's a shame that there isn't more balance, something that keeps it affordable, but actually helps when people need care. And that conversation actually left me really excited because what my Uber driver didn't know is that at that point, NCD was just days away from launching our NCD Accident Prime plan. And I knew that if my Uber driver was feeling that tension between affordability and access, I know that your clients are feeling that too. And the truth is, the numbers back it up. We need accident medical expense protection for your clients. And let me show you how big of a problem accident medical expense insurance is solving. So we see through some stats and studies that over 8,000 kids end up in the ER daily due to falls. We see 3,000 people head to the ER daily due to injuries sustained during DIY projects. And then a really big one here, we see 8.6 million sports and exercise-related injuries occurring yearly. So we know that millions of people are getting hurt annually, but the problem is even bigger than that. So we see that health insurance deductibles have increased 64% from 2017 to 2023. We also see that 59% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 unexpected bill. And when we zoom in even more, 37% of Americans can't cover a $400 unexpected bill. So on the last slide, we saw that millions of people are getting hurt annually. On this slide, we're seeing that people just can't afford unexpected bills. So I want to touch on one more thing to make sure that we're really on the same page. And I know we haven't even talked about the new plan yet and how it works. And I want to preface all this by saying our Accident Prime plan does not have to be sold alongside an ACA plan like you see on your screen here. I'm just using this as an example so you can see how an AME plan is really going to help your client out even if they have core insurance. So just reiterating, the Accident Prime is going to pay on top of other coverage, but let's just look at core medical coverage here for a minute. So this is probably really familiar to you. We have two screenshots of ACA plans. The plan on the left is a full price plan. Plan on the right is a highly subsidized plan. But in both of these scenarios, we see a really high deductible, $7,500. We also see that most services are not going to be covered until that deductible has been met, right? So think about this. We know 59% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency expense. So how is somebody in either of these two scenarios on your screen here supposed to afford treatment after an accident if their insurance isn't going to kick in until they've paid $7,500 out of pocket? Without some added protection, the reality is that most people can't. But now, because you partnered with NCD, your clients have access to NCD Accident Prime. So let's really break this down. NCD Accident Prime is a supplemental plan to help protect your client from unexpected bills due to accidental injuries. And it's worth defining what an accident is. Accident or accidental means a sudden, unexpected, specific, and abrupt event that occurs by chance at an identifiable time and place during the policy term. You have a couple of examples there on your screen of what an accident is and what an accident is not. Keeping in mind what the definition is, right? So something like a person slips, injures their back, that's going to meet the definition of an accident. Whereas something like chronic pain from years of something like poor posture doesn't meet the definition because it's not sudden or at an identifiable time. Now, the reason I'm giving you the definition of an accident and what accidental means is that sometimes our clients like to expand the scope of coverage. So keep in mind that the plan we're talking about today, Accident Prime, is meant to cover injuries related to accidents. So NCD Accident Prime is available in all of those states in green. Now, this is not something that you need to memorize. Here in a little bit, I'm going to hop into our enrollment portal, and you'll see that once you type in the zip code, it's going to show up if it's available. This map is also available for you to download on our Agent Launchpad. So starting at a high level, Accident Prime, again, is going to help cover those accident-related costs, including the cost of things for doctor visits, ER urgent care, x-rays, surgeries, any other procedures, again, related to the accident or injury. Now, Accident Prime is what we call first dollar coverage. So there's no coordination of benefits. It's going to pay on top of other coverage. There is no deductible to be satisfied. There isn't a waiting period, and there are no network restrictions. So in the event of an accident, your client is going to go receive the care that they need. Then they will submit their medical bill through our online claims process, and they're going to receive a check in the mail for covered expenses up to the benefit amount. We'll get into the specifics here shortly. So when it comes to eligibility for this plan, it is guaranteed issue, which, as you know, means that there are not any underwriting or knockout questions on the application. The primary applicant needs to be 18 years to 64 years at the time of enrollment. So we don't have child-only plans, but we do have dependent coverage available. Again, dependent coverage is going to be for anybody under 18, as long as they're on the plan with their primary parent or guardian. So when I think about Accident Prime, I really think of 3 different layers of protection. We have the main accident medical expense protection. So this is going to be a benefit bank to help cover medical bills due to unexpected accidents and injuries. Your client will also have a separate benefit bank to cover both emergency benefits and AD&D coverage. And then lastly, there are unique NWFA benefits that come embedded with this product. So let's really zoom in and kind of break down this plan design. Your client has 4 plan options: $5,000, $7,500, $10,000, and $15,000. Once you help them choose the benefit level, the rest of the plan is going to work the exact same. So reiterating that your client has up to the chosen amount per covered person per accident. It's worth repeating that part because it's really important. Accident Prime has an AME benefit bank, which is per person, per accident. I'm really emphasizing that because it is common in the industry to have a benefit bank that resets yearly. And again, Accident Prime resets with each accident. Now, I keep saying up to the benefit bank, right? So let's say you enrolled your client into the $5,000 plan. Your client is going to have up to $5,000 per accident to use. So let's say they have a covered accident and the medical bills total $2,700. They would be reimbursed $2,700. That would then reset, and they have the full $5,000 for any future accidents. So let's say they have another accident and the covered accident has medical bills totaling $6,300. They would be reimbursed $5,000 because that's the benefit amount total. It then resets again, and if they are very unfortunate and have a third accident, it would have, or they rather would have the full $5,000 for that third accident. One note on the AME benefit is that the treatment needs to be received within 90 days of the injury. As mentioned earlier, there is not a deductible to satisfy, so the benefit amount kicks in right away. That's huge for your clients. Many accident plans in the market have a deductible to be met before the plan is going to pay out. Accident Prime has first dollar coverage. There are also no waiting periods, which is very self-explanatory. So as soon as that effective date hits, any future accidents that are eligible will be paid up to the benefit amount. Now, with these plans, in addition to that main benefit bank, so $5,000, $7,500, $10,000, or $15,000, your client also has a separate emergency transportation benefit bank. They have up to $500 per accident, 2 times per year. So let's say your client needed to take an ambulance to the hospital and they're on the $5,000 plan. They're going to have that full $5,000 up to the full $5,000, plus they would receive an additional $500 to help offset the cost of that ambulance. On the emergency transportation, your client needs to use it within 24 hours of the accident. Very similar to that emergency transportation benefit bank, your client also has an emergency treatment benefit bank. This is payable in addition to the main benefit bank as well, and they have $300 twice per year. Again, just giving a little extra money for those bigger accidents that require emergency treatment. Now, with all of these plans, up to $10,000 of accidental death and dismemberment coverage is available. You can see that it says it's subject to the schedule of benefits. That does come in all of their paperwork. It's posted on our Launchpad, but essentially it's traditional AD&D coverage where one limb is X percent of 10,000, 2 limbs is Y percent. So it's a schedule for the dismemberment piece there. Now, before I hop into the NWFA benefits, Hannah, are there any questions on the plan design that you think we should stop and answer now?
I don't have any questions in my chat box, but if anybody does have a question, either now or throughout the presentation, don't feel like you have to wait till the end. You can just go ahead and shout them out, just so I know sometimes I forget what my questions are if we move on to something else. So I don't want that to happen to you guys. Want your questions to get answered. So feel free to throw them in there. I personally had a question. So if this sparks a question for anybody else, did you say with the guaranteed issue, did the client needs to be 18? I just wanted to clarify.
So guaranteed issue means there's no underwriting questions. Everybody's going to qualify. The age stipulation is 18 for the primary, between 18 and 64. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then you said you have those dependent ones too that are.
Dependents can be on the plan with a primary parent or guardian.
Right. Right.
And then folks can stay on this plan until the age of 70. So they need to be over 65 to enroll, but they can stay on the plan through 70.
That is good to know. Perfect. Well, that thank you, Amy. That answers my question. Great. But yeah, y'all don't forget, if you have questions, just shout them out. I will stop Amy and have her answer them for you guys.
Sounds great. So the third layer of coverage, in addition to the primary accident medical expense benefit, the emergency transportation treatment, and AD&D, are some embedded NWFA benefits. So if you're familiar with NCD, then you know that our dental and vision plans are backed by the National Wellness and Fitness Association. So that means that members of the NWFA have exclusive access to our dental, vision, and now our accident plans. So membership to the NWFA is what gives members access to these plans. So for Accident Prime, when it is sold without dental and vision, so just on its own, an NWFA Foundation membership is required. You can see the foundation membership benefits in that gray box, and those probably look familiar to you if you've sold our dental and vision plans. We'll talk more about selling this in conjunction with dental and vision in just a moment. So when you enroll your client into Accident Prime, they're going to get the foundation membership benefits as well as those embedded benefits you see to the right of your screen there. Now, these embedded benefits I love because they are right in line with the type of care your client is going to need as they recover from an accident or injury. So when you enroll them into a $5,000 Accident Prime plan, they're going to get complimentary and alternative medicine discounts. So they're going to get 20% off select services, including acupuncture, chiropractic care, massage, and naturopathic services. And they'll also receive emergency travel assistance. So that's going to be for trips that occur within 90 days and over 100 miles from home. Now, when you enroll them into the $7,500 plan, it's going to include those benefits from the $5,000 plan plus imaging discounts. So discounted rates on medical imaging, services like MRI, CTs, and more. The $10,000 plan includes everything from the $7,500 plan plus lab discounts through direct labs. And the $15,000 plan includes everything and the addition of really steep chiropractic discounts through Unicare, where your client will see up to 40% discount on those diagnostic services. So again, these embedded non-insurance benefits really are geared towards accidental injuries, really just helping your client with the extra support they need to recover. So when you sell Accident Prime on its own, not alongside dental or vision, again, it's the foundation membership plus all the benefits we've talked about. Here's what the pricing is going to look like. Now, much like that availability map that I showed you, you don't need to memorize these prices. It's all included in our quoting system. I just wanted to give you a sense of how these are going to price. So starting at $28 a month for member only and going on up from there. Now, if you sell Accident Prime alongside an NCD dental or vision, which, as I'll show you here in just a moment, is done in the same cart, same application, when it's cross-sold like that, you do not need a foundation membership for your client because those benefits are already included with the dental and vision. So when you sell Accident Prime alongside dental or vision, $3 is removed from the pricing because the foundation membership is stripped out of the cart because those benefits are included with dental and vision. So I know you didn't memorize the last screen, but all the prices here for cross-sold pricing are $3 less across the board. So key takeaways there, when you enroll your client into Accident Prime only, they are being enrolled into an NWFA Foundation membership as well. When you sell Accident Prime alongside dental or vision, that foundation membership is waived and the price is reduced $3. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like in the enrollment portal in just a couple of moments. Now, before we hop into our case study and then into the portal, I do want to share a couple of exclusions. And I share these with you because I want you as the agent to be aware of some of the limitations of this plan in the event that your client asks you some questions. So just a general reminder, again, Accident Prime is to cover expenses due to accidents and injuries, not illness or disease. Accidents due to intoxication will not be covered. Extreme sports or high-risk activities will also not be covered. I do get a lot of questions about that. So extreme sports are going to be activities like bungee jumping, parasailing, scuba diving, skydiving, right? Those really extreme things. High school sports are not considered extreme. You will likely have a parent ask you if they can put their youth athlete on this plan. The answer is yes. Youth athletics are not considered extreme. Intentional self-harm is also excluded, and then treatment by a relative. Some more specific exclusions that come up frequently: dental work, unless medically necessary due to the actual injury, is not going to be covered. Cosmetic or elective surgery, mental health treatment, replacement of existing prosthetics or medical equipment, unless that equipment is damaged due to the injury. Reminder that repetitive motion injuries or cumulative trauma is not covered. And then a very, very specific one here is Osgood-Schlatter's disease. That is commonly asked about by parents. It's also commonly called jumper's knee in youth athletes, but that is due to repetitive motion and injury, so it is not covered here. Keep in mind, this is just a list I put together for you guys of common exclusions. It is not an exhaustive list, but we do have the certificate of insurance on our launch pad, and I'll make sure that Hannah and team have that for you. All right, let's take a look at how this plan works, and then we will hop into the portal. So here we have Martin, who was out biking with friends on the weekend. Hit a bump on the trail, fell, and then ultimately broke his arm. So his ER visits, x-rays, orthopedic follow-ups, and physical therapy totaled $4,100. Luckily for Martin, his agent had enrolled him into the NCD Accident Prime 5000 plan. So what that means for Martin is that he went and received the care that he needed for his broken arm. Again, the bills for the covered accident totaled $4,100. Martin submitted all of his bills through our claims process, and he then received a check for $4,100. Now, Martin also happened to have a core health insurance plan, which had a $3,500 deductible. So without Accident Prime, he would have had to pay that full deductible out of pocket before the plan would kick in. But because he was enrolled alongside with this Accident Prime 5000 plan, he used the money from Accident Prime to cover his health insurance deductible. Plus, he still had $600 left over to help with additional recovery costs. So Martin felt great knowing that he was very protected, and his benefit bank resets and is going to cover him for any other accidents that happen in the future. So just really want to reiterate here that one, Accident Prime can be sold alongside a core medical plan, and it does not coordinate coverage, right? So even though we know there's that $3,500 deductible, he may be at any point in that deductible, maybe he's already paid $1,000. We don't look at that at all. We're going to pay based on the medical bills. But for you as an agent, this pairs nicely with those core plans because you're making sure that your client isn't out that full deductible before the insurance kicks in. Quick recap here. On the client side, we see really strong first dollar benefits to help your client cover the unexpected, right? Nobody plans to fall and get hurt. As mentioned a couple times now, Accident Prime does pair really nicely with core plans, helping to fill in the gaps. And want to reiterate that the funds go directly to your member. So they're going to submit the claims. They will receive that reimbursement check in the mail. They use those funds as they see fit. Now on the agent side, this is great for you. Anytime you're thinking about cross-selling, you should be thinking about what that's doing to increase your revenue per client. As you saw, the plan design is really simple and easy to explain. So we went really in depth, but it's really those three main pieces. You choose the main benefit bank. They're going to have additional emergency treatment and AD&D coverage, and then they have the NWFA benefits. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen just for a moment so we can hop into our enrollment portal. As I'm doing that, if you have any questions about anything we've gone over so far, please feel free to call that out, and Hannah will read those questions. Okay, so when you contract with NCD, you know that you receive your agent ID. Your enrollment portal is enrollment.ncd.com/youragentid. With the launch of Accident Prime, we refreshed our enrollment portal, and this is what it looks like now. So you start with your zip code, and then the client's date of birth. Now, keep in mind that for Accident Prime, they need to be under the age of 65. So if you put in a date of birth over 65, only dental and vision will show. If you put in a date of birth under 65, you now have the option to quote and enroll in dental, vision, accident, or a combination of the three. So you're going to select your coverage level. Again, like always, we have member only, member plus spouse, member plus children, and family. And then you're going to choose the effective date. The effective date is going to be the first of the following month, up to 2 months in advance. I'm going to select dental, vision, and accident so you can see the combination cards. We'll continue to our plan selection. First up, we have our dental plans. They display like they always have with our core plans on top, followed by Elite and then Bright. When you click View Details, it's going to expand and give you everything you need to know about that plan. We've also included some additional NWFA membership details, so you can see exactly which benefits come with each of the plans that you're enrolling them in. A new feature of our enrollment portal is a compare feature. So if you're trying to decide between a couple of plans, you can select up to 3, click compare coverage, and then you get a nice side-by-side. We'll go ahead and add our complete plan to the cart. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, we have a little 1 now indicating we did successfully add that dental plan. Next up, we have our VSP vision plan. Again, if you don't remember the details, click View Details and it's going to expand. We'll add that to the cart and continue on to our accident plans. So here we have our 4 different accident plans. If you are unsure, once again, click View Details. I'll save the click there. I know you guys know exactly what that looks like. We'll go ahead and add the $10,000 plan to the cart. We have all 3 plans in our cart, so let's review the cart. You can see it breaks down the total monthly cost by product. So we have our dental, vision, and accident plans. The total monthly cost that you see right here, $145, is inclusive of the premium for all 3 plans and the NWFA membership fee. At this point, you can do a couple of things. If for some reason your client decides they do not want one of these products right from the cart, you can remove it. You can also send a quote to your client. This is a new feature of our new enrollment portal. So if you click send quote, you're going to be able to put in your client's email or phone number to text. If you select email, you can also CC yourself. Gives you a preview of exactly what they will see in that email. From the quote that you send them, they can pick up from that point in the application and fill it out and submit it. Or you, as the agent of record, can also begin the application on their behalf. So I'll walk you through that process. The required information is the same as it's always been. So first and last name, gender, date of birth is locked down. That was already decided on during the quoting process. The phone number that you put here is the phone number that will receive a confirmation text. The email is the email address that will receive a confirmation email, as well as, if you have accident in the cart, a signature link. So as you know, for our dental and vision, there is not a signature required. Nothing has changed there. A signature is still not required for dental and vision, but it is required for accident. So I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Here we'll review the member information. This is the last chance to change the effective date if needed. We'll go ahead and leave it at October 1st. If it's of interest to you, here on the total monthly cost, you can hover over that icon and it will break out the NWFA membership fee. Again, that is included in this total cost here. We'll continue to payment. ACH or credit and debit card is accepted. It's asking you to validate the credit card. Note that that's not yet charging anything. It's just making sure that you keyed in the correct information and that it's a valid account. From here, we'll select the billing start date. It's always going to default to the date of the application. If you need to align with payday or benefits coming in, you can move the first draft date anytime between the date of the application and the product effective date. So we have a 10/1 effective date, which means we can choose anything from today through the 30th. Best practice is going to be to leave on submit. We'll continue to the agreements. Up at the top, because we have accident in our cart, it's going to ask how we want to deliver the signature. So we can deliver it by text or by email or both. I'll leave both there for now. It does default to whatever you have on the application. Down below is our standard agreement. Nothing has changed there. So we check the box. Now, when I hit submit application, it's going to send over everything to NCD, and it will also trigger the electronic signature piece to go out for the accident plan. So I'll hit submit. You will get their member ID to populate, just like you always do. And then at this point, you're going to instruct your client to either go to their text messages or their email to pull up the signature email. Now I'm going to stop sharing and pop back to the slides because I do have some screenshots for you to see what that email looks like. So give me just a second here. And we'll go right back over to those slides. There we go. So in their email, they will have an email coming from memberservices@ncd.com with the subject line "Action Needed, sign to activate your coverage." Here's a screenshot of what that looks like. It has their member ID along with the Accident Prime product, so 5,000, 7,500, whatever you enrolled them in, along with the effective date and a link for them to click. They're going to click the link. There's a box for them to check. They'll do their signature, and then they will instantly receive a confirmation email letting them know their signature was received. It also points them to the member portal and gives them instructions on how to file a claim. So it's a very easy process both for you and for your member. Again, you can send that signature piece by text or by email. Pivoting back just a moment away from the enrollment portal to some sales strategy. I know you guys all are expert agents, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I just want to remind you that selling Accident Prime alongside your core plan that you're enrolling them in can be done really seamlessly if you ask just one or two additional questions during discovery. So during your normal discovery, you're already talking to your client about things like their primary care physician, if they have any hospitals they want to go to, general things like that, right? At that point, asking one additional question will kind of tee up the Accident Prime sale. So you might say something like, you know, Hannah, have you ever had to go to the ER or urgent care for something unexpected like a fall, cut, or broken bone? Hannah might say something like, yeah, actually, I was out doing yard work 3 months ago and cut my hand and had to go get stitches.
I'm actually very close to this would happen.
Oh, yes. Well, there you go. So Hannah and I were talking about that, right? I'm taking note. That was one extra question that I asked. It took 15 seconds. So then we're going to go ahead and look at her core plan. And I'm going to have some transition statements, right? So, you know, Hannah, it sounds like we need to find some coverage that's going to help protect you against unexpected bills, like when you cut your hand doing yard work. Let me put together some comprehensive solutions here for you. I look up her core plan. I have Accident Prime ready to pitch as well. We go through her core major medical plan or short-term medical plan, whatever you're pitching. And then I can do a transition statement to Accident Prime. So, you know, Hannah, I know you know firsthand how expensive it is to go to urgent care, but a lot of people are surprised by how much it actually costs to go in for something like cutting your hand. The plan I want to look at now is going to help cover that large deductible that we just talked about. I want to make sure you don't have to pay that out of pocket if you cut your hand again, and then you pivot into the Accident Prime piece. So it can be pretty seamless, right? You're already getting information for their core plan, ask an additional question, add a transition statement in there, kind of teasing the Accident Prime plan, and then pitch Accident Prime after you've gone over their core coverage. Now, we have plenty of resources for you all, so a lot of brochures. The QR code will take you right to our agent launchpad where you can download brochures. I'll also make sure that Hannah and team have all of these resources as well in case you guys have your own resource hub. But no shortage of resources. If there's something you think you need to sell this product and you don't see it, reach out to your team, reach out to me directly, and we'll make sure that we give you everything that you need to effectively sell Accident Prime. With that wraps up all that I wanted to share with you today. We went through our product, kind of did a deep dive there. I showed you the enrollment portal. We touched lightly on sales strategy there. Hannah, is there anything else you want me to cover with the team before we wrap up today?
No, Amy, I think you did a wonderful job kind of covering everything. I mean, you know, I think it's a great product. I think it's going to do really well. You know, we know NCD, we love NCD. I think it's, you know, pretty cut and dry ancillary product, I think, so I'm glad that y'all are expanding. I love to see that. But I think you covered everything. I don't personally have any questions for you. I don't see any questions in the chat either. So
Well, that's great. If anything does
did a great job.
And yeah, you're right. It's a really simple product. Don't overcomplicate it. Your client needs coverage for accidents. So tie it into your normal sales process, and it'll help your clients and it will help you.
Yeah, let that scope of appointment be your friend, and cover everything. Building on an already existing book of business is a great way to, incorporate these ancillary products like this one. So I think I'm excited to see what this will do for y'all.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to chat with you all today. Wishing you a successful AEP OEP season.
Yes, thank you, Amy. We appreciate your time today.